Folks, let me tell you a story. I was up in Canada one time doing a show in a town I can't quite pronounce. I had a little too much sweet tea before I went on stage, if you catch my drift. So, during a break, I turned to the fella backstage and said, "Sir, where's the restroom?" He just looked at me with this blank stare, like I'd asked him to explain quantum physics using only sock puppets. I thought, well, maybe my southern accent is a little thick for him. So I tried again, slower. Rest, room. Where do you rest? He just shrugged and pointed to a beat-up old couch in the corner. I tell you what, I almost gave up right then and there. It wasn't until I was about to burst that another fella, probably hearing the desperation in my voice, chimed in. He said, "Oh, you're looking for the washroom." A washroom? I thought, son, I don't need to do my laundry. I need to see a man about a horse. But sure enough, he pointed to a door marked washroom, and behind it was the porcelain throne I was looking for. It was at that moment I realized that even though we speak the same language, sometimes we're about as understandable to each other as a politician's promise. It's a thin line between neighbors and complete linguistic strangers, I tell you. That whole experience got me thinking. If you've ever crossed that border, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now let's talk about clothes. Down here in the States, when it gets cold, you put on a beanie. It's simple, it keeps your head warm. But if you go up to Canada and ask for a beanie, they might think you're talking about a stuffed animal. Up there, that winter hat is called a toque. A toque. Sounds like something a fancy French chef would wear. If you go to a store in Georgia and ask for a toque, the clerk is liable to send you to the kitchen supply aisle. You might be a Canadian if you've ever had a serious 10-minute debate about the proper way to fold a toque. The confusion doesn't stop at your head either. It goes all the way down to your feet. In America, you wear sneakers, tennis shoes. But in Canada, they call them runners. I once heard a Canadian fella say he was going to put on his runners to go for a jog. I thought, son, are you running on the carpet? It just sounds different, you know? It's like they took all our regular words, put them in a blender with some maple syrup, and just saw what came out. You think you're prepared, but then they hit you with another one. All right, so the words are different. But what about the way they sound? This is where it gets real interesting, folks. The classic example, the one everyone knows, is the word about. In the US, we say about, it's clean, it's simple. But our friends in Canada, they give it a little twist. They say a boot. It's subtle, but it's there. The first time you hear it, you might think they're talking about footwear. What are you talking a boot? Well, I'm talking about my new boots, of course. It's a recipe for confusion, I tell you. And then there's the word sorry. Now, we all say sorry. It's a useful word for when you step on someone's foot or accidentally eat the last donut. But Canadians have turned saying sorry into an art form, and the way they say it sounds a little different too. It's less like sorry, and more like sorry. It has this extra little bit of politeness baked right into the sound. If an American bumps into you, they might grunt, sorry. If a Canadian bumps into you, they'll look you in the eyes and deliver a heartfelt sorry that makes you feel like you should be the one apologizing to them. Every place has its own special words. The kind of expressions that make you sound like a local down south. Where I'm from, our go-to word is y'all. It's the perfect word. It's friendly, it's efficient, it covers everybody in the room. Are y'all ready for some barbecue? See? Perfect. If you don't say y'all at least once a day, people might think you're a tourist or a spy. It's the glue that holds our conversations together. We use it for friends, family, strangers, even the dog. Y'all want to go for a walk? Now, the Canadian equivalent of y'all is the legendary word, eh? They stick it on the end of sentences like we stick butter on a biscuit. It's a nice day, huh? That hockey game was something else, eh? It's a question, it's a statement, it's a way of life. It's like they're constantly checking in to make sure you're on the same page with them. You'll be making friends in no time, eh? At the end of the day, whether you're wearing a beanie or a toque, whether you're saying y'all or we're all just part of one big, happy, and slightly confused North American family. We might get our words mixed up and our pronunciations tangled, but that's half the fun. It's like having a cousin who talks a little funny. You might tease him about it, but you still love him. These little differences are not a wall between us. They're the interesting little cracks that let the light in. They give us something to laugh about. Think about it. If we all talked exactly the same, life would be a whole lot more boring. There'd be no joy in discovering that a Mickey in Canada is a flask-sized bottle of liquor, not a famous mouse. There'd be no stories to tell about the time you tried to pay for your poutine with American pennies. These moments of confusion are what create the best memories. They're the punchlines to the jokes we don't even know we're telling. So, The next time you hear someone say something a little differently, don't just correct them. Smile. Ask them about it. You might just learn a new word or a funny new expression. You might learn that Kraft dinner is a national treasure in Canada, or that Americans really do love their ranch dressing on everything. It's a cultural exchange that can happen right in the middle of a grocery store aisle. It's a reminder that our world is full of wonderful, hilarious little details if we just take a moment to listen. Now, I've shared my stories, but I bet y'all have some good ones too. What are your favorite differences between Canadian and American English? Have you ever had a funny mix-up because of a word like washroom or Chesterfield? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's get a good laugh going and celebrate the funny ways we all talk. Because no matter how we say it, we can all agree that it's pretty great to be neighbors, huh?